Greetings and welcome back to another episode of Behind the Curtain Podcast, the show where we ask for insight about topics we think we know everything about, but don't. I am your host, Andy Ortiz. Today's episode is titled Under the Knife, where the table has been set, heated blankets comfort us, an IV drip has begun, and we're counting backwards from 10 as the anesthesia kicks in, and we're ready to welcome Olivia Gonzalez. Olivia, thank you for being on the show.
Thanks. Thank you.
So hopefully from my introduction, you guys can tell that Olivia is a nurse, yes? Can you tell us where you work?
I work at Parkland Memorial Hospital in the medical district.
Yeah. And what type of nurse are you doing right now?
Right now, I am working in the operation room, and I love it. It's awesome.
Okay. Like with every great story, we begin at the beginning. Olivia, where were you born?
I was born here in Dallas, Texas. Born and raised, actually 10 minutes from my job.
That's very...
Very in the bubble.
Yeah. I mean, that just helps with traffic, so...
That's true.
Okay. Who are your parents?
My parents, they are awesome. They're the most humble people I've ever met. They came from Mexico to find a better life here.
Yes.
And they've raised us here, and...
Who's we?
We?
Yeah.
Oh, their names?
No, you said they raised us.
Oh, me and my sister.
You and your sister? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, I mentioned you're a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
You went to school for that.
Yes.
Something that I'd like to ask other people who went to school and now they're working in their major field, their careers now. How much of what you learned in school do you actually apply every day to your work?
Man, school is I felt it was very hard. It was a lot of information compacted into 2 years, which is the nursing program. I learned a lot of fundamentals like facts, like lab values, like signs and symptoms, and I didn't really realize how much you just learn to know it, because when you go into the working environment, you're just like assisting the patients and you're going with the flow, and you don't realize how much you've actually use in the everyday.
So it actually did become natural.
It did, yeah. The skills took a while.
But the knowledge, the fundamentals.
Yeah, and I mean, you forget sometimes things, so you just look them up to a refresher of because we took a pharmaceutical class. Of course, you're not going to remember every single medicine and their adverse effects, their side effects, so stuff like that. Quick glance.
How often do you find yourself refreshing?
Well, in the operation room, we don't really have to give medicine, but it's more like the procedures, the name of them. Like, I look them up.
Okay. Was nursing your first choice as a major?
It actually was. I remember watching a program on the Discovery Health, and it was nurses in the operation room and the way they carried themselves in the room. It was really interesting, and it caught my attention. So initially I wanted to be a CRNA, like a certified registered nurse anesthesiologist, but now that I'm in the operation room, I mean, it's still an option, but that's one of the reasons why I wanted to be a nurse.
So you have that option of I can go down path A, path B.
Yeah,
path C.
yeah. Nursing career is so abundant. There's so much you can do.
Okay.
You can always specialize in something else.
But right now you're comfortable where you're at.
Yeah, and plus I've signed a 3-year contract, so I'm kind of stuck here for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your parents' reaction when you told them, "Hey, I want to become a nurse"? Do you remember that?
They loved it. I mean, being in the medical field, it's like an honor. You know, you're helping someone, you're changing someone's lives every day. So they loved the idea that I wanted to do it.
Oh yeah, my daughter's a nurse.
Yeah. But I also wanted to do graphic design because I thought I was really good in art back in the day. But that was my other option.
What happened with that? It just didn't...
At the time, my parents were like, something that you'll always have a job in will be a nurse.
Okay.
So
like steady.
Yes, you'll always have a job. And it's true. People are always going to be sick. People are always going to need care.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. You don't dabble outside of the graphic design right now?
Do I think about it?
Or do you dabble in it? Do you at least attempt?
No,
I'd say
well,
I'm gonna
when
make
I
a
was in
graphic.
high school, it was a hobby. I used to love making logos. I used to love editing pictures. I'd spend hours doing that.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, this is something I'm good at. So that's why I thought of doing it.
All right. So you mentioned you're a nurse. Obviously, you've met older nurses when you first started. Can you tell us maybe a trick or a piece of advice that an older nurse gave you that you rely upon today in your work?
Yeah, I can. When you're in the moment, there's so much going on. You know, patients are calling you, medicine you have to give, things you have to chart. But the one thing you have to keep in mind is my patient safe, and their life is the most important. So if I'm taking care of 5 patients, which one is the one that needs me the most at the time, even though they're all calling me at the same time? Yeah. Like, who needs me? What's life-threatening at that moment?
Well, thank you very much for that, for keeping your patient's health. Like, okay,
Yeah.
who needs to be
the most.
who tended to
Correct.
the most right now? Okay. And do you see that in other nurses? Do they have the same attitude, or is it just something that you happen to picked up?
It takes time to realize that, because when I first started, I was more worried about, I guess, the technical stuff, like the charting, the medicine that I have to give. I didn't really realize how much it all comes together. Yeah, it was very stressful.
Okay.
Very stressful.
But at the end of the day, bottom line, is my patient going to be safe?
Correct.
Okay.
And there was many times where even my shift would end, and I would give reports to the next nurse, and I would stay an hour and a half charting, because I put my patient first and I put all the technical stuff aside, which takes a while. It's a time manage.
Yes.
At first.
So hopefully, if you're ever in an ethics conundrum, like, we'll know Olivia will pass, because she said, my patient is safe, I can move on. That's the right thing to do. Okay, thank you. What's your relationship with the doctors? If you're obviously around them, and if you work in a hospital, so what's that like?
Now that I work in the operation room, I see the doctors every day, all day, and it's cool. I like it. It's an honor to work with them, because they're very talented. They're very knowledgeable. Like, you learn something from them every day, because it's a teaching hospital, so they always have residents with them, and they're always explaining procedures. They're always explaining the surgery, and you listen, and it's very neat. I love it.
So they're not intimidating, but you see them as a source.
Oh yeah, they're definitely intimidating.
Yeah?
Yeah, but it's now that I've been there for 9 months, some of them know my name, and it's cool. They're like, oh hey Olivia, I'm like, oh hi, like, you know my name.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Are they celebrities when they walk
I know.
around?
They pretty much are. Yeah. We even have a orthopedic surgeon that has instruments named after him, because he invented a procedure.
That's
cool. We have like 2 or 3.
Does that freak you out a bit?
It's kind of cool. And I mean, they kind of arrogant, but they know it. So.
Have you done that procedure, or have you seen it
performed?
Yeah.
Yes, I have, actually.
Is it that doctor, or is it another doctor, or?
He's the one that does.
He's the one that does it.
Yeah, he has his own set and like the name of the procedure.
And I was like, that's kind of breaking the fourth wall, maybe. No.
It's very neat.
Yeah. Okay. You mentioned earlier about how it's more important when your patient is safe, and you'll kind of disregard the charting. But is that more important? Is it more important for you to have the technical, or to be more of a social aspect when dealing with the patient?
It's hard. Every patient is different. Their personality is different, and I mean, there's only so much you can do. That's what I learned at the beginning. It was very emotionally stressful for me, because I try to please everyone all the time, and I would get carried away, and I would not focus on anything, because I wanted to please them. I wanted them to be happy, but they're in the hospital. They're not going to be happy 100% of the time. They're in pain. They're grumpy. They're irritated if they're on a special diet, and no matter how much you do to please them, you can't.
You can't.
So that's what I learned. It took me like 8 months to realize that, but I learned, like, I am never going to please everyone, so I'm just going to be myself, be nice, cordial, and and
do your job.
Do my job, yeah.
Yeah. So was that a hard lesson?
It was. I would go home and cry sometimes because it was so emotionally like, I'm like, I can't deal with so many personalities all the time. But then I just kind of grew like a thick skin, and I viewed it as a different way. I was like, I kind of had to put like humor into it sometimes, and like that's how you get through the day with all of the coworkers. Like we'll laugh about something and just get through.
I guess I need to go work at a hospital because I don't have thick skin sometimes. I'll take things too personally.
Oh, yeah.
In 8 months, like, I gotta go pick up a shift at the... No, I'm just kidding. But
it's different. That was when I worked on the floor.
Okay.
But in the operation room, the patient is asleep most of the time. So you don't really have to deal with...
a cranky person.
Right. You don't have to deal with that, with the worried family members, like everyone asking you questions.
Do you talk to them? Hey, how you doing, sir? And then
you have
get
to...
that silence and...
you have
just carry
to
on a conversation with them.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll get back to that stress-inducing thing that happened to you, but I read that in 2010 there was a shortage of nurses. Mm-hmm. In 2010 you were still in school, right? I was
still in school.
Did this affect your decision on becoming a nurse? Were you aware that this was a problem?
I was not aware of it, but it did not. And that's not the reason why I chose to be a nurse, but my dad always would send me articles about how there was a shortage and, like, that's a good opportunity for you. That's a good thing that you're in this career or, like, at school.
Yeah. So you were able to see this, I guess, in retrospect, you can see that this was a negative and you turned it into a positive.
Correct. The funny thing is, though, when I graduated, no one would hire me. It took me 6 months to find a job. Yeah. Because I didn't have any experience. I'm like, well, how am I going to get experience if you don't give me a job? So it was hard.
Do you think you're more valued now because there was a shortage and like when you came in, well, I guess when they finally hired you, did you have that sort of sense of pride? Like, yes,
I was excited. Yeah, I was like, finally, I'm gonna get an opportunity, get my experience in at least 2 years because that's what everywhere required 2 years experience.
Oh. That's sort of the paradox of today. Like, oh, hey, yeah, I want to do this. I've studied enough of this. And then, hey, there's a 2 to 5 year prerequisite that I can't meet. And, yeah.
And, like, since nursing is so specialized, like, if you want to go to a certain department, like operation room or, like, labor and delivery or ER, you have to go through a residency to get that job.
Did you go through that, or?
Yes, I'm actually going through it right now for the operation room.
For operation?
It's 9 months training.
9 months?
Yeah, it's a lot.
Is it just like back when you were in school, that sort of all this condensed information thrown at you and you're having to adjust to it?
It's different because now you're just like learning how everything works in the hospital, how they do certain things for the operation room, like policies, like supplies, instruments, getting...
A little bit laid back more than...
It is. It's a lot more laid back than when I used to work on the floor. Okay. I still like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're still learning, you're still...
Yeah, I have 1 more month of training, and then I'm done.
And what changes after when you're done?
I'm going to be by myself because I've been with someone for 9 months.
Oh.
Like a preceptor.
Yeah. So solo.
Yeah. Well, Parkland is level 1 trauma hospital, so we have 13 services. So we have to train in every service for 2 weeks. So we have like orthopedics, plastics, surg-onc, which is surgery oncology, ENT. We have so many thoracic.
Having all these 2 week is it fair to say the word rotation? Or?
The rotations, yeah.
Is that does that excite you?
Yes, it's different every day. Yeah. Different patient, different procedure. It might be the same procedure, but it's a different outcome, different situation. So it's always different. Okay.
That keeps you on your toes.
Yeah,
keeps
yeah.
You going, like, oh, okay.
And it's cool, like, oh, this patient's here for, he tried to take out his eye, so we're doing a nucleation, which we had a couple months ago. Or this lady has a huge tumor, looks like she's like 9 months pregnant, and it's crazy the stuff we see.
Yeah. Have you had at least favorite rotation so far, or have you gone?
Yeah, right now I'm in surgery oncology, and it's actually really interesting. I like it.
Least.
Oh, least. Ooh. Least. Probably we have a burns
Ooh.
rotation, and the room has to be 95 degrees because the patient, it's missing a layer of skin, and it's really hot in there. And
do some hot yoga, right? No,
I know. I mean, it wouldn't be my least, but it's just exhausting because the heat.
Yeah, it adds a certain level of external stress. That you're okay. So the medical field has been dramatized in television and film. Is any of it accurate?
First of all, it's not that dark in the operation rooms.
Okay.
Because I used to love Grey's Anatomy, and they always make it very dramatic and just the focus. Well, actually, it could be dark sometimes, but it depends what procedure it is. But it kind of is. The trauma service. We have a trauma service. But other than that, it's...
Like, no one's coming in, like, at 3 in the morning or something, and like, hey, this patient is, like, about to lose his arm or something. Or...
Well, when we do have traumas, they call it in, like, to be like, hey, the ambulance is coming in 10 minutes. Like, you need to prep your room. So we, like, take everything in the room and get it ready.
Yeah, because, like, on the show, like, on Grey's Anatomy,
they just walk in.
They just walk in and the episode starts. And
No, we usually know when the patient is, if they're in an ambulance. But if they show up, like, in a car, then, of course, then we don't know. But it is kind of very similar to it,
Okay. Always curious about that.
Yeah.
Is Grey's Anatomy your guilty pleasure? Or?
It used to be. I watched all 8 seasons, and then I just lost interest when I started working at the hospital.
I don't have to live
I
it
don't
in
have
my
to see
head.
it.
Now I get to live it in real life.
Right.
Okay, moving on. Is anesthesia the best technological advancement of the 20th century?
I think it is. It's so cool. I watched the anesthesiologist intubate patients every day and extubate them. It's very neat. Like, all the medicine you have to give like a paralytic, you have to give propofol, the medication to sleep them, the gas, oxygen. It's really neat.
I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's like a doctor specializes in that, right?
You can be a doctor anesthesiologist.
You described the process there, and like, I guess from what I know from TV is like they put the mask over you and you like knock out. But
doctors specialize in that, so that's the only thing they do.
Yeah, but
no other surgeries.
Feeling no pain, that's the greatest thing ever, no? The
things you can do under anesthesia.
What's some of the craziest things that you've seen done?
Ooh, so many. We did amputations yesterday. It's amazing how...
What was amputated?
They did an AKA above knee amputation on a lady.
So she lost her...
her above the knee.
Above the knee?
They cut it all off.
Ugh.
Yeah, and anesthesia interviews them before, gives them a block, which is like they'll block a vein or artery, not an artery, like a pain to block the pain from when we wake them up from surgery.
Yeah.
So
because they realize like, oh, hey, something's missing, and then.
Yeah, so they'll give them like a block to block the pain and like an epidural kind of thing.
Okay.
And then we'll put them to sleep. And they'll do the amputation, and then when they wake up, they'll still have that block because it lasts like 4 or 5 hours. So it'll help with the pain of them dealing with the amputation. And do that a lot, actually.
What? Sorry about that. We'll just cut that out.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, I don't know. What do they? What do they do with the amputated ligament? Or
we send them to pathology.
Okay.
So it's considered a specimen.
Ooh.
So we have to.
There's still people still look after it. And
we have to tag it. We bag it, tag it, put ID on it, and send it down. I'm not sure how long they keep it down there.
Have you ever kept up with a specimen just to see the history of the specimen? Like
kept up with it?
Yeah, like
no.
Oh, hey, it happened to this person, and then like 2 weeks later down the line, like, oh, hey.
No, I haven't. I think the doctor after surgery decides what he wants to do with it, like if he wants to take it to research or if he wants it for a test for something.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it depends on the doctor what he wants to do.
Right. How big is your workload in the hospital?
It's not bad. In the operation room, it's not as bad as it was when I worked on the floor. It's a way less stressful because the doctors are there, the anesthesia is there, so if anything happens to the patient, they're there.
Yeah.
And it doesn't compare to when I used to work on the floor. I was by myself, and I had to do a lot of more important decisions that were scary sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you panic in that moment? Like,
yeah, in the beginning I did.
I get 10 seconds to make a call.
Yeah, in the beginning I did because I was still learning. I wasn't sure when it would be appropriate to page a doctor or not because sometimes they get upset if you call them for something that's not that important or life-threatening.
Yeah. But they have to understand, though. It's
I know.
Your first... Did you ever receive...
Attitude from a doctor?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, all the time, even in the operation room.
Okay.
It's
The God
everywhere.
complex, or... I don't want to say God complex.
No,
I'm
not...
not stereotyping others, but...
They have a lot on their plate.
Yeah.
And when you...
So they make just big decisions and stuff.
Right, and when you're paging them, and... Because, like, first-year residents, they're in charge of the pager. Like, they get all the calls. And depending on what year you are, depending on what... Kind of like a rookie, so you get you get all the workload.
Yeah.
So they get stressed out, and they have a lot on their plate.
Okay.
And I feel bad for them, but...
So now there's a different workload from when you began to where you are now.
Yes.
And is it much better?
Yes, I actually enjoy walking into work.
Okay,
Going to work, yeah.
That's good. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that your parents were excited that you were a nurse, and I guess they told other people. I guess other people are aware that you are a nurse.
Like friends? Family members?
Or, yeah.
Yeah. Every time they ask how I am, they like to show off and be like, yeah, my daughter's a nurse.
Are you being asked any medical advice outside of the hospital?
I used to in the beginning, but now it's more laid back. But I still do occasionally, but not as much. Like,
what type of questions is it? Is it like, hey, is it like, does it get to the point where they're like vulnerable in front of you? Like, hey, can you look at my rash or something?
Yes, I've gotten that.
How do you deal with that?
I mean, sometimes we just laugh it off and I'll tell them Neosporin or something, or go take an antihistamine for like allergic reaction.
Is that weird for you?
Mm-mm.
No, is it now like, are you like, hey, 8 to 5, I'm a nurse, and then like?
No. It doesn't mind. It doesn't bother me at all.
Okay.
I think it's kind of cool that they're asking me.
They can depend on you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So remind later, I have a rash. No, I'm just kidding.
Need to be examined.
Note to self.
Or be like, you need to go to the doctor.
Okay, just send me to the doctor.
Yeah, just go to the doctor.
I have a note from Nurse Olivia. She told me to come see you.
Yeah.
You're supposed to give me a shot. All right. Okay. So now you mentioned that you're in the OR. Your patients are asleep, but before you were working. Can you explain that part again?
I worked on the floor in the medical surgery department or unit.
And you were dealing with people who were awake, right?
Awake, yeah.
Yeah. How did you earn that patient's trust? How did that process begin? Or is that even part of your...
Yeah, you have to create a rapport with your patient all the time. And even sometimes I used to get patients that had mental illnesses like schizophrenia or bipolar. Those are the hardest ones because they never gain your trust. Yeah. But they usually all do. You just go introduce yourself, gain their trust by being reliable, by explaining what you're going to do, by showing confidence in your job and your skills. And they can tell you, they can read you off the bat. Yeah. If she's nervous or anxious. Yeah. Because I remember.
I'm going to push her.
Because I remember when I first started working and I was still training, they could read me off the bat. Like they'd be like, "Can I talk to someone else?" Yeah, like I don't think she knows what she's doing. I mean, it kind of sucked, but there's nothing I could do at the time because I didn't know everything, and I was still learning.
If a patient said that, are you like legally required to go and get somebody else, or are you?
Yeah, if they don't feel comfortable with me, you can get the charge nurse.
Okay.
That's usually my first option, and if they still don't like me, they'll assign her to someone else.
Did the opposite ever happen to you, where
They-
somebody would like request like, "Hey, this nurse isn't, I'm not comfortable," and then you would come in? Did it ever reach that point?
Where the charge nurse came in?
Yeah, you were brought in as like the substitute.
Oh, as a substitute. Gosh, I can't remember that. I think I did, but it wasn't because they didn't trust the other nurse. It's just they didn't get along.
Okay.
Yeah, they clashed. Their personalities clashed.
Right.
So they would put me in because they knew I was sweet, and I would take.
She'll
I
get
was
over
pretty.
take the medicine.
Yeah, I was pretty flexible with everyone.
Okay.
All the time.
Right.
Because yeah, we do have strong personalities, or some nurses do, and like.
It's a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
You have to stand your ground and be like, hey, I'm taking care of you.
And I'm naturally a very, very nice and easygoing person, and it did also take me probably a year to actually like put my
Your foot down?
put my foot down
No.
to some like really.
I'm Batman.
So I guess it kind of gained my confidence too, like
Good.
this career has, or like be more stern.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
standing up for yourself. Like, no, okay, cool. So back to now that you're in the operating room. Can you describe how tense it is before a surgery? What is it that you prep? How do you prep for a surgery? It just depends on the surgery.
It does. You get assigned a room for the day, and they schedule cases in that room.
Yeah.
So if I'm working in, let's say, like this week, I'm in a surgery oncology. So it's all patients with tumors, lesions,
Ugh.
any kind of cancer. So they'll assign me, we'll know like the patient, we'll know what their surgery they're having done. So in the mornings we have to make sure we have all the case carts, like the sets. The sets are like the instruments that we're going to use for that surgery. We have to make sure we have the right bed, the right machines in the room, like that they're going to use. Yeah, you pretty much just set up. So you have like 30 minutes to set up for each surgery.
Ooh.
And you have to set up, and you also have to go interview the patient.
Within that 30 minutes?
Within 30 minutes, yeah. So
Is
it's
that,
a lot of prepping before any other surgeries start. Make sure you have everything.
do you have like a record? Like, oh, today I did everything in 20 minutes.
Yeah,
27
yeah.
minutes.
It's always a challenge because they always want turnover. Because doctors only get a certain block. They only get a scheduled block in that room. So they'll have like from 7 to 3, you have this amount of time to do whatever surgeries you want.
Okay.
So yeah. So we do as many as they
Possible.
can. Yeah. So we interview the patient. We'll bring them back. The doctor comes, do the surgery, finish it, take them to PACU, have 30 minutes to turn over, get the next patient.
Ooh.
So yeah. I mean, we always have delays. We try not to, but
Yeah.
we do.
I mean,
Stuff happen.
Yeah. You can't.
There's so much checklist stuff you have to do before you can bring the patient back. Yeah.
Is there a doctor, I guess, that kind of knows you, where you've kind of built that relationship? Like, okay, Olivia's working with me today. I know that I can get,
Stuff done.
stuff done in an hour where normally it would take me 2 hours of you.
Well, it really doesn't depend on me. It depends on the doctor and their surgery. It depends who they're with. If they're in a teaching mood, they're teaching the student. They let the student,
Okay.
not the student, the resident do the surgery
it's still a student, but yeah.
to
They're still doctors.
to stitch up or like do a procedure. If they let a resident do that, it takes hours.
Yeah.
It'll take longer.
What happens when you go over that allotted time?
Nothing. I mean, if they're on the last surgery and it goes over, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Just replace, because we all get off at 3, so they just relieve us with
Somebody else.
with someone else until they finish their surgery.
Is music allowed in this?
Yes.
OR room? Yeah.
Music is everything in the OR. I feel it. It sets the mood. It relaxes.
Is there
everyone.
a trend of what type of music someone listens to?
No, everyone is different.
Everyone's-
Every doctor is different. I've had doctors listen to hip hop. I've had doctors listen to EDM, oldies. I'm yet to have a doctor listen to classical music, though. I haven't
That's like,
heard that.
I guess a little bit more pretentious. Like, he has his mask on and the instruments are going and he's conducting.
Country, everything. I like it.
Do you get to pick the music at the?
Sometimes they do. They're like, play whatever you want. I'm like, okay, I just put top hits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Easy stuff to listen.
Yeah.
It's not complicated things, right?
No, but it does make a difference. I feel like it does. But if it's a really, really serious case, the doctor will say no music,
No
nothing.
music.
Yeah.
And you're like, you know it. Like, okay.
Yeah, like if it's a serious case where the patient could bleed out easily or you need to focus or everyone needs to be attentive, then they'll put no music on there, yeah.
You don't want Thriller in the background or something.
Yeah, no, because we all have to hear each other, in case something goes down.
Right. Can you describe your first reaction to blood, hey?
It never bothered me. I guess I was conditioned. with TV shows, with movies. You always see blood.
Yeah. And it's just like, oh, it's
yeah,
just...
so when I actually saw it in real life, I'm like, it actually looks like that. And it didn't bother me at all. Okay. When I see patients being opened up, cut open, it doesn't bother me at all. I think it's really interesting. The body is amazing and it's intricate. Machine. Yes, and it's really cool.
I can't stand it. I remember I cut my hand open and I saw the inside and I freaked out.
You're like, I'm done.
I ran home. I was like, like a panic attack. I was like, what is that?
Yeah. Nothing really grosses me out. It's more smell.
Yeah.
If it has a certain smell, that's when I'm like, ugh. I need to wear a mask or something.
Is there a certain type of surgery that always produce a type of smell?
No, it depends on the patient, what they have. If they have an infection, those smell. Or if it has anything to do with surgery with intestines, have feces. But other than that, it's usually also when they take a medication. And
the reaction.
No, when they excrete it, it has a certain smell too. TMI, I know, but...
Yeah. But note to everyone out there, hygiene is important.
But yeah.
With that? Hygiene.
But yeah, it smells really what gets me. Other than that, anything visually is fine.
It's fine?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Are you a slasher horror movie villain on the side?
You know what? I'm not a big fan of... I mean, I don't watch horror movies for fun, which is weird.
Okay, yeah. Study their technique. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I know.
All right. In that operation room, can you describe some of the tools that you use?
But I've learned every instrument. They're called instrument, not tools.
Okay, so we'll correct that.
No,
instrument.
I got corrected so much now, so they're instruments. Every instrument is named after a doctor.
Ooh.
So.
Someone's ego.
Yeah, so every instrument has a different name, and that's another thing that we train for is they try to teach us every instrument, which is really hard to learn because there's so many, but we have a major set that usually all doctors use for general surgery. So that one I got down. But when they're specialized, the orthopedic one,
it's too specific.
It's too specific. Sometimes you just have to if they ask for it, you'd be like, here's your choices.
Is there a name tag?
No, they're not labeled. We do have a list that's like a count list of the instruments that should be in a set, and that helps a lot to get familiar with the instrument. But there's so many. We have the Kelly, the Peon, mosquitoes. Oh my gosh, the Bakeys. Adsons, the forceps, so many different ones.
Is it how are they stored? Is it like a toolbox, like a general toolbox? Does it look like that?
Well, they have to be sterilized, so they're in a special. It kind of looks like a toolbox. It's metal, and inside they have them on a stringer. All of the instruments, and after every surgery we sterilize them, which is a process of 4 hours.
Ooh.
So yeah, we have to have a lot of sets, a ton.
What happens if you break one? Or
they're really not. You mean the tool?
They have an instrument.
An instrument. You just take it out of the set and replace it with another one.
Okay.
You'll just put it on.
There's backups.
Yes, there's a count sheet. So you'll say this instrument is broken. Don't put it back in the set, or it needs to be replaced.
Okay. Right.
And we have a lot of indicators in the tool box, I guess you call it, the set all over to make sure everything's sterilized
Okay.
before you use it.
So just like anything else, supply and chain, like, hey, we've used X amount of bakies and here they are. Cool.
Yeah, we do like a count sheet before, yeah. Because usually when a doctor like opens up a patient and when they close them, like suture them up, they use usually the same instruments. So you kind of have an idea of what they're going to ask for next sometimes.
Okay.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah. So these hospitals are a paradox. Life begin there through birth and life ends there. Does this cause any emotional stress to you? Has that burdened you?
I haven't had someone pass away in the operation room since I've been there, but when I worked on the floor, I had maybe a couple people pass away under my care. But it's actually very peaceful because most of them were DNRs, like do not resuscitate, so they knew they were going to die.
Oh.
They're in their last moments of life, and I don't know, it feels peaceful to me when I see them pass away because they're not in pain anymore. You know,
Okay.
they're in a better place. And
Right.
of course the family members cry.
Yes.
And
I guess I'm seeing it from that aspect.
yeah.
Okay, so and then.
But I mean, there's not much you can do.
Okay.
You just feel
You
like
were
I'm
there
sorry.
at least in the last moment,
Yes,
caring for them.
I have. And sometimes the family members leave to go eat something and they pass away right at that moment. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
But
Dude,
I was
come
there.
back.
But I was there for them.
Yeah. Oh, that's very sweet. Earlier, you mentioned you mentioned a bit of stress about how you had to deal with patients and how stressful that was, and how you developed a tough skin. How do you find peace in a hospital? How do you deal with all that?
Like, how do I deal with it?
Yeah.
It took me a while to figure out how to deal with it when I first started. That's why I said it probably took me like a year.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how to deal with it. I would come home and let it out on my family.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know.
So just
Like, do I cry? Like, do I?
Yeah.
I was really, I could say, I'm not the type of person to vent a lot to people. I just keep it all bottled inside. And I realized, I realized that was not
the correct way.
at all to do it. And then I just got used to it. And then it was like a culture shock, and I just got conditioned to it. So now, like, whatever's at work, and I come home, and I'm like, I'm still alive. I should be grateful.
Yeah.
You know, everyone at work is sick, where my patients are. And actually working out has helped, too.
Okay, Olivia. So your first week was as a medical surgery nurse? Mm-hmm. Would you go back and relive that if possible?
No.
No?
It was a very, I mean, I enjoyed that I did that, and I learned so much about everything because medical surgery is very broad. So I learned so much, and I don't regret taking that job. But would I ever go back and do it again or relive that? I'm okay with not reliving it, yeah. Okay. It was very intense. Very intense.
Can you describe what's maybe a common pet peeve amongst nurses?
I guess it's the same thing as being a server. You go in there, they ask you for something, you go in there, and they're like, oh, by the way, can you bring something else? Yeah. And you're like, okay. And then you go, and then you come back, and then they ask for something. It's like never ending, and you're like, I still have 5 other patients I need to see.
But you can't spit in their food in this case. No?
Oh my gosh. Or sometimes they'll be like, you know what, I can't right now. I'll come back in like 10, 15 minutes and give it to you. And then if you get caught up in another room and 30 minutes goes by, they get really upset with you. But because they don't know what's going on. Like, they don't know what the other patient's conditions are. Like, they have no idea. And
they can't read a chart.
No, I mean, it's stressful because, like, it goes back to you try to satisfy everyone, but you can't. And so you just have to let it go and be like, you know what, I'm sorry. I was caught up in another room, but here it is now. Like, I brought you what you needed.
So with that in mind, what keeps you coming back to the hospital every day?
Because I feel like, you know, everyone pursues some in their life to make a difference, you know, to be recognized, to leave this world making a change, in the world. And I feel as a nurse, you always do that. You help someone every day and you make a difference in their life. And it's amazing when they say thank you or what is your name? I will never forget you. I've actually had someone even bring me flowers one time or earrings. I had like a man from Mexico who got me earrings.
Dang.
I know. I was like, wow, okay, thank you.
Can I trade these in, Bob? Or not?
I know, right? But just going in, and I also love it because you never know what you're going to get. You never know what you're going to expect, who you're going to meet. I have met so many people, so many stories, so many scenarios. It's cool. Like, your day.
That's why you do it.
Yeah, like every day is a new adventure, and I love adventures and meeting new people and trying new things, and so it goes very well with my career.
And thank you for that segue. A common theme here at Behind the Curtain is that a lot of our guests travel. I know that you've been traveling a lot for the past couple of years.
Yes, and now that I have a job, I can travel more.
You can travel more?
I know, I have money.
What's the most exotic place you've visited so far?
Ooh, that's a very good question. I want to say that New Zealand was really, really amazing. I guess it wasn't really exotic, but it was so green, so pretty, so cool.
Like, I'm in a movie, but no, I'm in New Zealand.
I know. It looks exactly like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And Ireland. Oh, my gosh. I loved Ireland. The cliffs.
The cliffs?
Yes.
It was just it's that Seattle sad vibe type of thing, but just more beautiful with the mountains.
The pictures, they look like paintings. Oh, my gosh. Every picture I took.
Did you walk in is it like a moor, like a swamp, I guess, right? Yeah.
In Ireland?
Yeah.
In Ireland. No, but we went to a place called Cliffs of Moher, and they're known because they're very steep and they're beautiful. I took a lot of pictures.
And what's still on your bucket list to travel?
Well, I'm planning for hopefully this summer to go to Spain.
Yes.
For 2 weeks.
Nice.
Going to Barcelona, Madrid, Ibiza, and a couple other ones. I can't think on top of my head.
Are you backpacking this, or are you...
No, I go usually with my best friend, and we have used travel agencies, and it's actually worked for us. It's really nice because, the hotels are included, the tour guide's included, everything's pretty much included in the package. I mean, all you do is pay excursions if you want to, but I've never done backpacking. I don't know, it's kind of iffy sometimes. Yeah. Because it's like out of the country. But I guess we did a little bit in London because we stayed 4 days extra and we stayed in a hostel and everything, so.
Okay. Is there any perspective that you've gained on your travels that you wouldn't mind sharing with us?
Yeah. You constantly worry about yourself, your troubles, everyday problems, what people think of you. That's a constant thing everyone deals with. But when you travel, you realize that you have it all. You're blessed. There's people out there that have less than you and they're happy, or have more than you. You meet different people, different personalities. It just makes you very humble and grateful where you are and meeting these people. Because you'll never see them again, but they make a difference, in your life. And then
you try to do that in your life as a nurse every day now.
Yeah, and it lightens up everything. Everything I stress about, I'm like, why am I stressed about this?
Yeah.
There's other people. Yeah. I like it.
Here we're about to wrap up the show. What's next for Olivia Gonzalez?
Career-wise?
Open-ended question.
That is the open-ended question. Career-wise, I definitely want to go back to school and get my master's. I still deciding what I want to do, but I definitely do want to go back to school. In my life, I want to travel as much as possible. I'm single right now, no commitments, so I'm trying to take advantage of that and just spend my money on making new memories, new adventures, and meeting people. I'm all about that. I'm sure that
master's will pick up a lot of that chunk.
I know. That's true. That's going to be more money. But that's what I look forward to, is planning stuff. doing activities,
All right.
going places.
So we're about to wrap up the show, but before we do, I'd like to play a little rapid fire game with you. I'm going to ask you more questions, if you can believe that.
Oh,
And then
okay.
whatever comes to mind, please say it. Our lovely, our producer here on the show.
He's lovely.
He's lovely. Is going to put 1 minute and 30 seconds on an invisible clock you guys can't see, but it's there. And we will begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. What color best describes you?
Orange.
The dumbest purchase you've ever made.
Dumbest? Oh my gosh. I can't think of
All right. Coffee or tea?
What? Tea.
Tea. Chicken or steak?
Chicken.
Chicken. Would you rather Adele write you a breakup song or Taylor Swift?
Adele.
Adele. Oh, so we got an Adele person here. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings?
Ooh. I like Harry Potter.
Okay. Twilight or 50 Shades of Grey?
Twilight.
Twilight. Alfred or Yoda?
Alfred.
Han Solo or Indiana Jones?
Indiana Jones.
Oh, all right. This is going to be a little more tough one.
Okay.
Spielberg or Scorsese?
Ooh, Spielberg.
Oh, she went with Spielberg.
I did.
Yeah? Jurassic Park?
Yeah, he makes all the good entertainment, feel-good movies.
Okay. NSYNC or Backstreet Boys?
Backstreet Boys.
Back to the Future or Ghostbusters?
Back to the Future, for sure.
Okay. What movie is going to win Best Oscar at the 2007 Academy Awards?
I secretly want La La to win, La La
Yeah.
Land, but I don't know if they will.
Yeah. Okay. What was the best movie you saw out of 2016?
Oh my gosh, that's a really good one. I guess the one that's impacted me the most is La La Land because I listen to their soundtrack all the time.
3, 2, 1. All right.
Done.
Thank you.
That was awesome because it's all about movies.
Yeah, I specifically made it
For movies?
movies. Yeah. If you guys can't tell, Olivia is a bit of a movie buff.
I am, yeah.
So
that's another thing.
So La La Land, that's what's.
I love musicals. I feel like with music and a movie, it brings more emotion.
But it wasn't a musical more. It was more of like a.
I don't know what it was.
It was like a movie, and like, hey, we threw some music in there to. All right. Well, thank you very much, Olivia. Thank you for being on the show and describing to us a bit about your career in the nursing field and the stresses and the great things that you get to deal with every single day. Thank you for being on the show. Thank you to you, listeners. Please remember to follow us on all social medias. And until next time, bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.